Hello, everyone. Welcome to the world of pets. You can access us on YouTube at World of Pets Podcast. And we would love to have you on live so that we can have some interaction too, have you ask questions in the chat that we can answer. So today um, we have a special guest. We have Scotty from the Golden Rescue of Arizona. But first, a little bit about us. We work in conjunction with the World of Abilities channel, which has a number of podcasts that they sponsor. And the World of Abilities has the theory that people who have disabilities really have an ability. And it's just a matter of finding that ability and thinking of them in different terms than maybe they've been thought of in the past. So we want our pets to feel safe with us, right? We want them to feel our unconditional love because they have unconditional love for us, for sure. We also want them to live as long as possible, but we want that life to be a good quality life. And that is how David and I started this podcast, and that we found something that we feel is very positive as far as having the dogs live as long as possible. And yes, we want to share, but the main thing about the podcast is we want to discover everything that there is to know about pets. So that's what we're talking about tonight and why we're talking about Golden Rescue. We've talked about several different kinds of organizations or where we can find, because if you have a pet that passes away, usually you want to have a replacement. Somebody criticized me for using the word replacement, but you want to get another pet because you want to fill that void that's in your heart. So, Scotty, and I apologize for David, my co-host, not for him, but actually for the weather where he is, because it just kicked him off of the podcast, and he has all the notes. So, I'm all right. Perfect timing, David. We're ready for
Yay.
the Scotty introduction.
Absolutely. Scotty, thank you so much. You've got a really great thing going with Rescue a Golden of Arizona. And you said it's a statewide, all volunteer 501c3 nonprofit established in 1998 by Joyce Hubler. You've got pictures and pictures and pictures. And how many? You just had what? 3 litters?
3 litters of puppies in one
That's
weekend.
absolutely crazy. How many puppies total?
24.
24 puppies?
Yes.
Where do I sign up? For real.
Just go to our website and fill out an application to adopt.
That's perfect. What is your website, by the way? We'll repeat that as many times as we can.
It's golden-retriever.org. Nice and simple.
And
Very good.
this
All right.
That's good. That's okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's a picture of Charlotte. And Charlotte is our 4,000th dog.
Oh my gosh.
We celebrated our 25th anniversary, and then this year we celebrated our 4,000th dog, and that's pretty Charlotte.
Wow.
How sweet is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent.
Well, it said that you have 5 parvo puppy stories. My puppy survived
Um,
parvo as a very young puppy.
yeah, it's usually a young puppy's disease. We from a breeder, we picked up 5 puppies that all were positive for parvo, and they spent, so it's 5 puppies in intensive care for 5 days quite an expensive bill for a nonprofit rescue, but because of all our wonderful benefactors, we were able to save them all but for one.
Aw,
Nice.
I'm glad.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's great. Is there a Penny's picture? Picture number 3?
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And look at the happy face on Penny's. It's like when we got her in, she could barely walk. And we didn't know if she was going to make it because she had problems with some valley fever growths on her spine. And we fixed her, and I'll tell you what, she runs faster than you can think of. And she's such a happy dog. So she's kind of one of our miracle children.
Nice. What is valley fever? You mentioned that.
It's a fungal infection that fungus that's in here in Arizona and the neighboring deserts of Texas and not Texas, New Mexico and California. Um, and all you got to do is drive through this state and get out of your car to get gas, and you're probably leaving with it. You breathe it in. It comes from the dirt, and so areas that have a lot of construction or just being out in the desert, we kind of acquire this, and the dogs don't do well with it. But they've done years and years of research at the U of A and University of Arizona, and this year they came out with a vaccine. So we're hoping that this vaccine is going to work to save our dogs from dying of valley fever. But
That would
boy,
be wonderful.
she's such a sweetheart. Her mom comes to visit for a week or so at a time, and she learned how to use the doggy door, and she's in and out and in and out and in and out, just having a good time.
So does that
Yeah.
mean that the dog's staying with you at your house?
No, my friend adopted her. One of our
Oh,
volunteers adopted her. And
okay.
so she brings, when she comes to visit, Penny and Mia, her dog Mia, come with her.
Got it. Very good.
And we also, we've had a couple of them, but we don't turn any dogs away because of illness or injury or age. And we took in a puppy, like less than a year old, that was blind. And somebody adopted her right away. They had an 8-year-old golden retriever. They adopted the blind one. The 8-year-old retriever became her seeing eye dog, and that blind dog now goes swimming in San Diego.
Aw.
Nice.
We also we do
Yeah.
some wonderful things. We had a dog that could barely walk, and I got him some stem cell treatment. Then he went from not being able to walk to getting up and walking around the pool and everything. The before and after pictures were just great.
Very nice. Very nice.
Supervisor, notes. It says you became in 2017. You became an international rescuing golden retrievers from South Africa, Turkey, and
Um,
Mexico.
yes, we saw a need. We were made aware of the need to rescue dogs from other countries, so we decided to jump in and do our bit. We got we started out with South Korea, then China, Turkey, and Mexico. And the picture you're seeing now is Mia when we first got her. She was a distemper survivor in China, and she was our first China dog to come. Dogs don't have a good way to, they don't recover from distemper. But when they do, they have a really tough life because it attacks their nervous system. So she had ticks. Her arm would tick, would tremor, even in her sleep. And it was, I can't remember the number, it was a big number, but 80 times per minute. They counted 80 times per minute that her arm twitched, and she couldn't use it to walk on. So we took her anyway because we're a rescue. And our one of our rescue people, Becky Wetzel, adopted her. By the way, she's also the one with Penny that you just saw. So the two of them are together, and they've done really wonderful together. She had some of the things that helped her were acupuncture, stem cell, and hydrotherapy. Becky's done quite a bit of work with her, and now there's two more pictures after this. You can see that she's much more comfortable with that arm, and it's not twitching anymore, and she has a good time. She plays and like crazy and has a good time.
So
So
can
that's
I ask
almost
you?
like equivalent to
Sorry,
something
Dennis.
that's like Parkinson's. Oh, you're fine. I just trying to compare the ticks with like human Parkinson's kind of disease. Is that
Um,
neurological or is that a?
yeah, similar, but not. It was just her arm. With Parkinson's, your whole body is involved, but with her, it was just her arm, her left arm.
Wow. And that was a result of the distemper. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yep.
So, um, y- so tell us about how your specific. I mean, let's give you some credit. You got an award. You said from the Golden Retriever International Organization, I believe, and part of it was because of this international adoption. Can you be more specific about that?
There's the Golden Retriever Rescue Association, and they give an award out once a year, and I did win it once one year. I won it for the work that we did with the international dogs. This week we were
Excellent.
doing.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's quite an honor.
we partnered with Goldens Without Borders in Las Vegas, and we were bringing Goldens in from China like crazy. They came in palletized to LAX, and we had to get people to go to LAX to transport them back to Arizona, and we did. There's Penny today, and you could see the one paw is off the floor, but it's there. She used to never use it, and now she uses it. You can go to the next picture. Well, the next picture is Penny also. There she is. You can see in this picture, both those feet are on the ground. So she does use it. She's come so far from when we got her.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many dogs go through your organization in a year's time?
Well, it varies. It varies a whole lot. When I first joined the organization, we were rescuing almost 300 dogs a year. And then the economy recovered. At that time, the biggest reason for surrendering a dog was because they lost their job, they had to move to a small apartment or whatever, and we ended up getting a lot of dogs. After the economy recovered, we went down to it. One year we only got 40 dogs in. So that was the good news and the bad news. The good news was dogs got to stay home. The bad news was people waiting to adopt one had to wait a very long time. But now Last I think I forget the number, but
Mhm.
we rescued over 100 dogs last year. So we're going up now with all the puppies that we've had. I think we're up to 193.
Wow, that's a lot of dogs.
It is, it is, and we have people waiting to adopt them. This
Yeah.
is the picture here. Well, the picture that was there was at LAX. Um, and that's where we picked them up, and you can see they're in the airline crates. And we had to, to sort them out because they were, part of them were ours, part of them belonged to Golden's Without Borders, and some of them were another rescue. So we had to look for the ones that were assigned to us, and get them out of their kennels. And you would think after their long journey from China and all the hours they spent in that crate that they would be scared to death and not really want to interact. But I tell you, they're amazing. They came out of those kennels like gangbusters, and they wanted attention and they wanted food and love. And we love at first sight. We saw them and we fell in love with them. And all have responded very well.
So were all
That's
of
wonderful.
those designated for foster families?
Um, Not really. Our goal is to get the dogs into a home right away and to have as little disruption as possible. So we have a waiting list of pre-approved people. So, and we match the dogs to the people versus the next one on the list goes to number one type of thing. We match them. We're the match.com of golden retrievers. So when a dog comes in, we match them. And it works out much better than just randomly giving a family a pet. They tend to work out a whole lot better. Um,
So, what is the procedure that you go through for approval? And I know you have some kind of a home visit. Do I recall that
yeah,
from our conversation before?
yes. This is one of the dogs that came out of those kennels. That's one of our China dogs. Like you might say, she was made in China. Um,
Ah,
So people go to our website and submit an application to adopt. And then we go and do a home visit and make sure it's a safe place and that people have good intentions, and we find out what they need, what their family lifestyle is. For instance, if there's snowbirds and drive back and forth up north, we don't want to give them a dog that gets car sick. If somebody likes to hike, we don't want to give them a dog that's got hip problems. If they have a cat, we don't want to give them a dog that's going to kill their cat. So we're there to figure out what type of dog they're going to need. And then when we get the dogs in, we do an interview and people tell us all about their dog, and they answer the same type of questions as we do when we do a home visit. And so that's how we match.
so how, is it?
It's,
Do you keep statistics like as a percentage of how many? I mean, do you have situations where it doesn't work out with that particular dog, and you take the dog back, or how does that work?
yes, we do. That they have a 1 month transition period before we finalize the adoption. So we check on them during that month. We get them vetted and everything. And we check and make sure. And then if it's not working out, we definitely take the dog back without prejudice and rehome it. We do try to get it, like I was starting to say before, we try to get them straight into their new home. So because we have this pre-approved waiting list, when somebody surrenders a dog, the object of the game is to go get the dog from where it is now and bring it to where it's going to stay. And it's bittersweet. We sometimes cry when we pick up those dogs from the people that have to give them up. And then when we drive to the new home and deliver them and see how well they do, even on that first time, and then we're happy. I always say goldens bloom where they're planted. All they need is love and food. They're good.
Yeah. No kidding. So who is this in the picture here?
This is another one of the China dogs, and this picture, if I would have put a title on this, the subtitle, I would put, "Are we there yet?"
Oh.
He just got off the airplane and got processed and pottied and everything else, and now he's ready to go to Tucson or to Phoenix or wherever.
That was like me between Tucson and Lake Tahoe last week. Are we there yet?
Yeah. And this is one of those. This is one of those China dogs sleeping at the hotel. We have to stay in a hotel overnight because sometimes those dogs come in late in the day. So we stay at a hotel, and mostly they sleep. But we have found that sometimes they don't, and when they don't, we don't. We forget that they're in a different time zone. So they're used to being up and doing things when we're sleeping, and vice versa. When we're sleeping, when we're up and doing things, they want to sleep. So sometimes we don't get a good night's sleep, but they've done pretty well. They've had a long journey, and so they lay down and they're good going to sleep.
Wow. It really is a fascinating story. Do you feel like the golden, that your procedure are there any other organizations out there that have as detailed a procedure by
A
your
lot of them,
estimation?
a lot of them do. A lot of them do. We, uh, it's kind of a routine type of thing that works, and so a lot of rescues do it the same way. Um, we there's a picture of charting the way home. Um, Sometimes it takes a village to get a dog from one place to another, and other times, like with these puppies, we've got 24 puppies to find homes for. Not everybody on our waiting list is waiting for a puppy. So it's this one takes a state, and not just the village. This takes a state.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, it's good that everybody's not waiting for a puppy.
No, we have older people that can't handle a puppy. And so they need a little bit older dog. So this weekend we had all those puppies born, and then an 8-year-old dog came in. And so it was good to see someone a little older. This is another picture of a dog that came in from China. And you look at those faces and you just fall in love with every one of them.
Yeah. How do they? Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Who on the China end makes a determination that this dog needs to be?
That I don't know. I know there were some of them that would just they didn't come from a regular rescue. The first few that we got, it was people rescuing the dogs versus an association. In other countries, they don't have organizations like ours that are organized and have rules and everything. It's people who just pick up the dogs and get them in places that they'll be safe. We do have what we call our gold standard of vetting. So We want every dog. We want to know everything we need to know about the dog's health. So every single dog, regardless of where they come from, all get a complete physical exam, all required immunizations. They get spayed and neutered, although now with the very younger ones, we're waiting a little longer to do that. They get a microchip, a valley fever test if they're from Arizona, a fecal test for parasites, and our senior dogs get a senior blood panel so that we can make sure everything's working fine. And we also do any other testing and treatments as needed. And the rescue pays for all these medical expenses up to the time the adoption is finalized. And then the people who do the adopting are they're required to finish, to do whatever vetting during the dog's life. We just do it before it's adopted. Sometimes we'll put an addendum. Like I said, we're not spaying and neutering right away anymore, the younger dogs. So there'll be an addendum in the contract for the adoption that says we will pay for the spay and neuter whenever it's going to be done. We're the most we do have fees, adoption fees. And the most we've ever charged is for a puppy up to 3 years and 11 months, and that's $400. The average vet bill is $800. So we're not making a profit on any of these dogs. Some people have been reluctant to give a dog to a rescue because they think we're selling them. But we don't sell them, we adopt them. And we try the best we can to get what we need to cover those vetting expenses. I know the most asked question we ever get is, why would anyone want to give up a golden retriever? I mean, look at that face. Why would anybody want to do that? Well, most of the answers are they're moving from a house to an apartment, and either dogs aren't allowed or big dogs aren't allowed, or they're moving out of the country or state. Sometimes the owner dies and none of the family can take the dog. Some people move to assisted living and they're not allowed to have a pet. Sometimes the dog needs treatment or surgery and the family can't afford the vet bill. So rather than the dog suffering, they surrender them to the rescue, and we take care of anything medical needed. Sometimes the owner gets a puppy and doesn't realize how much work is involved with a puppy. And so they call us and say, can you come get this puppy really soon because we can't handle them? Or it's a bigger dog and a small person and the big dog, they can't handle the big dog. And sometimes a family member is allergic. Those are some of the reasons that people do give them up. Get out of order here.
So now, Scotty, who's this?
That's Jake. Jake was our dog, and he was just the best dog. If any dog is perfect, that was Jake. We loved him so much, and he became such a big part of our lives. But I was on the home visit team, and I had to go do a home visit. I decided one time to take Jake with me instead of my other dog that was used to doing those home visits. We do We do try to take the dogs with us on a home visit, especially if there's another dog that already lives there, because then we do an introduction to make sure the resident dog's going to accept the new dog. So I took Jake on a home visit, thinking he would be fine because he's that perfect dog. He behaves, and he just so good, follows instructions. Well, this was this only became funny in retrospect because while it was happening, I wanted to crawl under a rug. There, the first thing he did when we walked in the door was he pooped on their white carpet in the living room, and it's like this dog doesn't poop in the house ever. So I had no idea why he did that. So I figured, okay, this family passes the not housebroken pet test. So we go outside and there's a pool, unfenced pool. We had an unfenced pool, and Jake would sit there and never ever go in until we gave him the command to go in. So the man asked us, he says, "Will Jake go in the pool?" I said, No, not to worry. He won't go in that pool unless I tell him he can. We go outside, splash. Jake's in the pool, doing laps around the pool, and I'm there mortified. And it's like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, we had to get him out of the pool and dry him off. And it's like, my gosh, what is going to happen next? There, and there were a couple of other things. They had gotten a puppy, and the puppy was in the kitchen, and the kitchen had two entrances. Across each entrance was a gate to keep the puppy in the kitchen. Well, Jake kept knocking down the gate, and then we had to go run after the puppy. And we put the fence up again, and Jake would knock it down, and we go run after the puppy. And it was a crazy time. We decided, I told them, this family deserves a dog. They passed every test that we could have given them. I said, we spared them the seek and destroy test. We didn't destroy anything, but we got them home, and it's like, Jake, I don't know why you did all that stuff, but you will never, ever again do a home visit.
Oh, wow. Beautiful dog.
He died. He went to the Rainbow Bridge the night before we moved into our new house. We had bought a Solari bell, and I told Jake.
You told me about that. Go ahead.
I told Jake that bell was his, and that when he came to visit, when his spirit comes to visit, he should ring that bell so we know he's there. I did not tell my friend that was helping us move. I didn't tell her about that. And the very last night, I was in the new house putting things away, and she was helping my husband just pick up the last little tidbits that were laying around. And she was on the porch gathering things. And when she got back here, she says, Scotty, I don't know what was happening because there wasn't a breeze, no wind chimes were ringing, but that Solari bell was ringing like crazy. And it's like my heart just sank because that was Jake saying goodbye.
Makes me cry too. And I didn't even know Jake. Oh.
Except for that home visit, which we forgave him for. Of course, he was still the perfect dog.
Wow. What a beautiful story. So let me ask you, I got totally cut off of here and couldn't get on, or didn't figure out how to get on for a while. So have you had connection basically the whole time?
Yes, I think so.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Either that or you were talking to yourself, huh?
Yeah. The pictures, we're just a little bit behind in the pictures, but that was the picture. There are two of those China dogs in the back of my minivan. sharing some water on the way back from LAX.
Wow. That's one of my dogs I'm pet sitting for came over to see what's going on.
Yeah, this is we call charting on the way home, and I did this flow chart. I used to be a nurse, so in medicine everything was algorithms and stuff. So I did a flow chart with the teams and what happens when we bring in a dog, where do they come from, and what team does this and what team does that. And it's kind of a mess because we have specialized teams and we all are doing things simultaneously and we overlap. So it was really hard to differentiate who's on first.
Uh-huh.
Because the home visit team goes and does the home visits to approve people for a waiting list. The intake team does the interviews for the dogs that people have to relinquish. And I like most of our dogs are rehomed versus rescued, so that's a good thing. Then the placement team matches the dogs to potential adopters. The transport team moves the dogs from one place to another, and the vet team arranges all those medical appointments. Then we have a Woofline team that answers calls for general questions. We have a group of foster families that if the dogs need medical treatment or behavior problems or whatever, they go to a foster home until we can clear them for adoption. And then we have a behavior liaison so that if we have a dog with behavior problems, we can try to fix those.
Nice.
So it all works out, and it's amazing. Some people had told us that we are more organized than a Fortune 500 company.
I guess that is some flow chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow. Somebody singing for their dinner.
Oh no, this is Maisie. This picture looks just like, well, you're looking at a dog's nose. But Maisie was surrendered with her brother, and both dogs, they had been inbred and they had limited movement of their jaws. Maisie in particular made life challenging, but life threatening. She couldn't be intubated, and nearly impossible was the threat, and the threat of choking was terrifying. We really had to watch her. We found vet team coordinator Judy Smith found Dr. Mel. He's a highly regarded dental specialist at VCA Valley Hospital in Tucson, the emergency center in Tucson. And boy, he did some groundbreaking surgery that is just absolutely incredible. He used a computer generated 3D replica of her jaw.
Wow.
And removed the defective part. And he rebuilt her part of her skull and her jaw so that now she can use it more normally than she could before. And when you think about that, it's like, oh my gosh, you watch movies and stuff, see the news about 3D printers, and it seems like a sci-fi type of thing. But this dog is proof that there's so much we can do with those 3D printers, and she's going to be a happy girl. She's a happy girl. She'll be featured in next year's calendar. So we're just so thrilled. We look at these dogs that don't have much of a chance to survive, and we find veterinarians that can fix things, and then they survive. And we're just so fortunate that we have benefactors that keep us funded to be able to do these fantastic things to these dogs. They all have a brighter future.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's great. So I'm sorry, I don't have a copy of like David does. So if you came on late, my co-host David, who was going to run the interview tonight, is in the midst of a thunderstorm and keeps losing connection. And I was going to bow out. And so I've got dogs here that I am pet sitting for that were planning on getting fed a little bit ago. So I'm going to mute myself and take my camera off so that I can feed them. I know this is really unusual protocol for a podcast, but you just go right ahead. This is really informational. It's good stuff. Good stuff, Scotty. So you go right ahead and I'll be back shortly.
Okay. um, we some we sometimes get dogs that are pregnant, and a lot of the times the puppies ended up black and white. And I used to think, boy, those black and white dogs sure get around. It didn't happen often enough that we needed a whole bunch of people to participate. But one person, Robin Fox, she was very proficient in helping these dogs get their babies born. And we refer to it as Robin's Home for Wayward Goldens. And so she would take care of the births of the babies. Well, somehow or other, in the last 2 years, we've been getting dogs that are pregnant. And so we've ended up with lots of puppies. But we set a record this past weekend. We've been accepting dogs from puppy mills, breeder dogs from different parts of the country. And we got 3 of them in that were pregnant, and all 3 delivered this weekend. So we now have 24 puppies to find homes for, and not everybody on our list is waiting for a puppy. So we've had to open it to the public, and of course, everyone will still have a home visit before they're approved to adopt one of these puppies. But it's like, oh my gosh, 24 puppies. Can you even imagine? And they're not all in one place. They're in 3 different homes, but it's going to take a lot of people to transport 24 dogs to their new homes when they're ready to go. So this, I think, is Gray. Her name is Gray, and those are her puppies. What they do is they put a different color band on each of the dogs. And so one dog will be gray, red, gray, another gray, black, gray, green. And so we know those are Gray's puppies, and those are the colors. And then as they get a little bigger, we'll end up giving them names. So, but it's such fun to watch them grow. Golden retrievers grow so fast. So this is Kelsey. Kelsey is from up north, and she's a breeder from one of the puppy mills. And we adopted Kelsey, and she is such fun. She's very, very frightened of a lot of things because she lived in a barn. She turned 3 after we got her, so we took her to Sonnet for her birthday party, and she enjoyed that. But it's been a year, and we've had a lot of work to do with her. She was afraid of putting a leash on, so we had to start there. She was afraid to go in the backyard. She'd never been out of that barn, so she wasn't used to any of the sights and the sounds and the smells that are a normal part of life for us. And so we've had to help her work her way through. And so she's gotten to the point now where she will still be frightened of something, but then she will come back to see what, and she gets curious. She'll come back to see what was that, and then she'll be fine once she understands or knows what it is. We let her lay by the front door with the inside door open, so she'd look out of the screen door and she'd see all the activity outside the house. She'd get to sniff things through the screen door, and she did it often enough that she was curious to go out and say, okay, now I want to see this stuff up close and personal. So we were able to take her for a walk. And to me, that was groundbreaking. The other thing was, we have a booth at the home show at Tucson Convention Center twice a year. And I took her with us this time. And I tell you, she was frightened to death until we got into our booth. And then she relaxed a little and just loved having people pet her and everything. She has a lot of ways of sleeping, a lot of positions, and I'm putting together a little collage type thing or slideshow, and I'm going to call it The Art of Sleeping, because she gets into the craziest positions, and most of them are on her back. So we think, well, I think that's her way of telling her she feels comfortable with us, because she lays on her back. She went into heat when a little while before we were able to get her spayed, and we weren't used to that, so we had to learn. I got her. We put a disposable diaper on her, and it was shredded in 5 minutes. So I went out and got her a whole wardrobe of cloth diapers, and thought I was going to have to chase her around the house to put them on. I turn around and she's behind me, laying on the floor on her back. And she let me get on the floor and diaper her like a baby. And then she got up and walked away. And it's like, oh my gosh, we kind of think that maybe the breeder used diapers when he didn't want them to breathe. And so she was used to having those diapers put on her. So,
Yeah.
so she had no problems running around with diapers on, and I had no problems putting them on her. Every year,
Scotty?
yeah,
I have a question, or I hope it's okay to ask this. I
yes,
mean, I
please.
already know the answer to this, but if you could explain to people about collecting the donations at the home show and how much that one person gave.
Yeah, we have a donation box on the table, but also each dog wears a donation vest, and it's just a little vest, and it's got 2 plastic pockets that people can put a donation in. And they know how to work a room, because they walk around or people pet them, and let's put money in their things. This past time, every now and then it happens that one person gave us a $100 donation. And boy, let me tell you, that goes pretty far in helping us rescue more dogs. Every year, our biggest fundraiser is our Cutest Golden contest. And every year we have that contest, and the ones that win get to go into the next year's calendar. Sophie was one of the winners, and she's going to be Miss November. Not Sophie. Kelsey is Miss November next year.
Ooh.
So she's had her picture taken, and I'm writing her story, and so she'll be on the November page of next year's calendar.
Oh, that's wonderful! Congratulations, Kelsey.
Yeah, but we collect quite a bit at the home show, and we're thrilled every time we do. This is one of her sleeping things. She's got the bed, a nice comfortable bed, but every now and then she'll find another place to hang out. And I thought this one was just too cute that we didn't put the footrest down. So she got up there and just stretched out and just as happy as can be.
No kidding.
She's
Looks comfortable.
so sweet and so lovable.
Excellent.
We're blessed to have her. This is one of my favorites. I think this one tells us she is comfortable being with us and that this is her home. She's just totally upside down and weird position but happy. She's a happy girl. She's got
And
very.
How long have you had her? I forget what
It
you
was
said.
a year in April.
Okay.
And we lost one of our dogs, and the one we have was very lonely. She was depressed pretty much of the year. So we were waiting on another dog, and two of them they brought to us didn't work out. We wanted a boy, and they didn't work out. And they called one day and said, Scotty, is there no way you would consider a girl? It's like, sure, bring. He says, we got this cute. I said, okay, bring her. We have transition time. We'll see. Soon as she walked in the door, we knew she was staying. So we were very pleased. And Sophie accepted her. That's her sister here now. And Sophie became her teacher. And she taught her how to use the doggy door and taught her how to go outside and not be afraid. And she follows Sophie. So that's one way we got her into the car, was she followed Sophie out the door and into the car. Because she didn't want to be without her. She's very bonded to her. They sleep together. They each have their own bed, but they end up both of them in the same bed. She likes it.
Wow. Well, golly, we've gone over 50 minutes.
Oh, no.
So we certainly have imposed upon your time, but is there anything you'd like to say in closing, or do you want us to go on a couple more pictures? Do you have anything specific to share in that regard?
I think there were a couple more pictures.
Okay.
I think there's a picture of the other two dogs and their puppies that I just sent them to her. So, Emily's.
You okay?
I can't even. That's okay. I can't even imagine having a litter of puppies in the house because I know how much work they are. But this is Kelsey sleeping with her sister. That's they're so close. They really are bonded now. And
Great.
one thing we have found is with the breeding dogs is putting them in a home with another dog. When we don't, they have difficulties adjusting because they come from a place that has dogs all over, and then we put them, they're the only dog, and they don't know how to handle that. But if we put them in the home with at least one other dog, then they can adjust easier.
Very good. Good to know.
There are, when people are considering adopting a dog, instead of going to a breeder or a pet shop, one thing they might consider is a rescue dog first, for many reasons. And there are many all breed rescues where they can go find a specific dog, a specific breed if they want, not just Goldens, but Labradors or anything else. And then there's the all rescue dogs, and the all rescue dogs have the all rescue dogs have of course different breeds, and so you got different breeds to look at. Some are mixes or whatever. There's also the shelters. Dogs desperately need a second chance from the shelters. So those are good places to start. The Humane Society, absolutely good place to start. Most of them are no kill, so you get to go there and look at the dogs and see which one you might want. When you go to a rescue, like we said before, a lot of them will try to match the dog to the family. And so you have a better chance of getting a dog that will fit in with your family's lifestyle.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, we've featured some the pack, for example, and several other different organizations as well to give people an overview of what when they want a new dog, where to look. So
Mhm.
hopefully we've done a good job with that. And Scotty, I want to thank you so much. Um, this has been great. I'm going to pass it over to Emily to close this out.
Yeah.
She's getting the rest of your pictures up there. Oh,
Yeah.
is that one of the puppies?
Yes, that's Ella. Ella and puppies.
Okay.
The one before that was Sunny. It's Sunny, and this is Sunny. And I think, and the next one is Gray. The bigger picture was Gray. The Gray is her name, and the other one was Ella. So, but I
Very
want to
nice.
thank you so much for
Oh,
having me
yeah.
on your podcast and talking about our rescue. There's a reason I've been with it for over 20 years, and it's because the things we do are awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's
Hmm.
very well organized, especially when they have somebody like you making flowcharts.
Yeah.
So, and congratulations again on your international award. That's just want to make sure everybody understands. So, one of our friends from Tucson, Arizona, got an award that was given to one person in the entire world having to do with Golden Rescue that year.
Well, in the United States, Golden
Oh, I'm
Retriever.
sorry, in the United States. I was really making it a big thing.
Golden Retriever Club of America.
All right, very good. So, Emily, go ahead. Please close us out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Scotty, for coming on. We're here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central, 6 Pacific. And to encourage everybody to check out our YouTube channel and our social media. And thank you to our partners, Marcus Hart of Transforming Media, Zach Clean of the Pack Channel, Lawrence Wingate of Wingate Studios, China Disability Channel, for the support of our shows and replaying them. But until next week, everybody stay happy. Productive
Yes.
weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah.